Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean, casting nets, fish nerds, fish nerds, fish nerds, it's a podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Fish Nerds, the show about fish, fishing, and eating fish. I'm Clay Groves, Chief Executive Fish Nerd, Licensed Fishing Guide, your best friend. The Crappie Hippie is with me tonight as my co-host, or this morning. I don't know what time it is, Crappie Hippie.
I don't know either.
Doesn't matter.
Does anybody really know what time it is?
What is time?
Really care?
Yeah.
Does anyone? It's time to do the Fish Nerds, and we're here doing it. Hi, I'm the Crappie Hippie, your tree-hugging redneck from eastern Kansas, also known as John King, co-founder of Glasswater Angling. You can find us at glasswaterangling.com, and I am here and ready to fill your ears up with fish stuff. So let's get going, Mr. Groves.
Yeah, pretty exciting show today. Before we get into our small talk, let's talk about what the show is going to be tonight. We'll be talking a little bit about the 4th of July. We'll be talking about... What are we talking about? We got a field report from the fishing clinic.
My first field report.
Yeah. Did you record this yourself?
I recorded it all by my baby self.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. We'll be talking about some news. Always do the news, right?
Always.
We're going to do a little bit of... You got a trends report from the Outdoor 2024 participant report?
We got that from our own Tim Tacklebox Beat, and these reports are a lot of fun. I can ask you a bunch of fun questions and see how you do.
See what I know. We'll do a little culinary corner. I'll teach you how to make trout burgers, the best way I think to use stocked trout. Tank scrubbers, as they call them. And we've got some Father's Day entries for our Father's Day concert we'll be sharing as well. So big show for you tonight.
Absolutely.
Or today. All right. So John, how you been? Good?
Up and down.
Up and down.
Big highs, big lows.
Mm-hmm.
I got to interview Femboy and his brother on Friday night last. Fabulous time. Jeff and I did it together. We had a ball. We had a lot of laughs.
So that's an upcoming topic for an upcoming episode.
That's an upcoming topic. Yeah. That's a teaser.
Teaser.
I think that's what's called a teaser.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah. And then I you know how I am about kids and fishing ed and all that stuff. So taking place in Vamos a Pescar, the fishing clinic on Saturday morning with my main brother at the fishing hole. Jeff was there as well, and we had a ball doing that. So big highs. The lows don't matter in any particular way. Like I say, it's important to me, but I don't think it's anything listeners need to listen through. That's what my therapist is for. So
all right, good. Well, we won't be your therapist, John. We'll move on. Yeah.
All right, man.
So I had some friends visiting from Austin, Texas this past weekend, and we had this heat wave coming up to the weekend. It felt like Austin, Texas here in my town, which never feels that kind of heat. And then they arrived on the weekend, and the weather broke, and it just poured down rain and was cold for 2 days while they were here. So we had these big boating plans. It didn't happen. They were leaving Monday morning. So Sunday night, still pouring down rain and thundering. And one of the kids said to me, his name was Jake, he goes, "So Clay, you had talked about taking us fishing." And I'm like, "Well, it's 8 o'clock at Sunday night." And he goes, "But I'm leaving tomorrow, and I wanted to go fishing with you." So I said, "Well, we can go catch some catfish." So we grabbed some rods and worms, went down to my local pond, and caught a bunch of brown bullheads. Yeah, we fished about an hour in the rain, pouring rain. We didn't care. We just toughed it out and got the job done.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for that young man. I'll tell you, I mean, if you're from Austin and you're used to boiling your brains out, maybe a couple of days of cold rain, hate for it to cancel the plans, because I know how much fun a trip on Silver Lake in the nice, cool New Hampshire summer air can be. It's gorgeous. But on the other hand, I would say no to bullhead fishing. I mean,
it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And easy.
And
so easy.
Smart move.
Yeah. If you don't know technique for catching catfish, it's easy. Put a worm on a hook and put it in the water. That's really it. There's anything else is complicated. You don't need it. Just put the worm in the water. Doesn't matter how far you cast out. They're going to come right in shallow. You can cast far if you want to. And they don't care. They're going to find it. So
you're going to get some support for that here in a minute. So we will get back to that here shortly.
All right, cool.
With the clinic. Yeah.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. What do you got going on for the 4th of July, John?
Oh, I don't know. I just wondered if you had any plans. I don't have any plans. My Kathy, she doesn't dig 4th of July. She likes to go to the little town down at the end of the road from us. Has her display the night before we go to that, and then we just kind of hang out and I don't know, make some good food and just kind of watch around the horizon in every direction, because we've got plenty of fireworks crazies out here that do it all and do it big. So
That's fun.
Yeah, you'll have some of these farms and stuff that they'll have everybody out from the city, and they'll put on shows comparable to what you might see a municipality doing. So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I'll be guiding on the 4th of July. I've got one of my regular clients that comes every year, coming out for a bass fishing trip in the morning, and then probably the boat will be in the water already. I'll probably invite my family to come out and float in the boat with us until the evening, and that'll be it. Just float in the lake all day. That's my plan. That's my plan. Simple. Catch some fish, float in the boat.
Simple, idyllic. I love that. And just something real quick. Speaking of guiding, I take friends and people here and there. I've got enough areas I don't really have to worry about this, but when you guide, do you have a rotation or a way to rest spots? How do you keep from wearing spots out?
I haven't had a problem.
Okay.
I haven't actually, and honestly, like my good spots, I have my A spots, my B spots, and C spots, right? A spot being the best spot. I always start in my A spots. And it usually, I would say 90% of the time, the fish do what they're supposed to do in those spots. But I'm not hitting them every single day. I'm a part-time guide. I'm going out in my spots once every week and a half or so. So it's not like I'm pounding them every single day. I really only guide once or twice a week, if that. So, and then there is a spot I do guide at a campground. I guide every Tuesday at a campground. So that's probably my one spot I hit the most. And I bring 10 kids. So parents drop the kids off with me on a dock. So it's me, 10 fishing rods, 10 kids of all ages, like ages 2 to 20, on a dock. And under the dock are the 2 big snapping turtles who have learned our patterns. And so on that day, every single time we do exactly the same thing and we catch exactly the same fish. And I'm sure that's every week the same fish. And they don't seem to care. They're there.
They're just cooperative.
Because they're getting released, so they're getting a free meal out of it.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know. They're getting paid. I don't care.
They're getting something.
I don't worry about it. How's that for an answer?
Well, that's cool. I'm glad. I mean, I just kind of wonder about that, because there's been some murmurs and some talk about guides, and certain people are talking about, should they be taxed? Should they be this or that because of the amount of fish they take? And I'm just like, the issue is so all over the road, as like you say, frequency. Are they catch and release? Mm-hmm. Exactly what are we talking about?
I would say if your clients are all following the letter of the law, they're catching fish legally in a legal spot, you don't need to make any more rules. You've already made the rules. And just stick with the rules you got. That's it. There's plenty of rules, and they're hard enough to navigate. If you start making separate rules for guides, you're going to end up with less guides, and that's bad for the whole economy. So for the fishing economy.
I would tend to agree. Anyway, I will tell you about one. I almost got divorced.
Oh, there's this week.
There's one of my rough spots.
Again?
That was last week. Yes, again. Yes, again. I had a buddy in high school. I could do a whole podcast about this guy. He's quite the character. Anyway, he bought out a catfish bait making company, and called Rusty's Bait.
It's a good name.
And and that's clear down in Anthony, Kansas, which is out by Wichita. And he's like, John, I fish kind of casual, this, that. He goes, but you fish all the time. He goes, I want to consult with you, and I want you to help me out with this new company I'm doing right now. And he told me all about it. And he goes, can I send you a few samples, a couple? I said, sure, you can send me a few samples, a couple samples, no problem. No big deal. Happy to help you out. I'll pass it around. I'll take it some up to the marina up here at Hillsdale, and whatever else I can do to help you promote what you're doing. And lo and behold, 35 cases of catfish bait show up on my porch.
Oh, you told me about this. You texted me when this happened. Yeah.
And so I don't have a garage. I mean, we have a barn way the heck and gone, a couple hundred yards from the house, and it's not exactly animal tight. And Kathy, I mean, there's dough bait in this, there's punch bait, there's dip bait, there's scent, there's vacuum packed shad galore. All kinds of stuff, my man. And
sounds delicious, John.
It sounds delicious. It smells delicious. And she's like, we can't leave this stuff out on the porch because the coons will have a field day ripping these boxes open, getting at that stuff.
That's
and I'm
true.
just like, yeah, it's true. So we just came up with a plan. We stuck it between the storm door and the inside door, and that didn't work out because every time she, our stairs end right there at the front door, and every time she'd go up to go to bed, she says, that stuff's giving me a headache. That stuff's making me gag. This kind of stuff. It's gotta go. And so I was scrambling to get rid of it. Anyway, I got this used car that my mom's husband gave me when he went into care. Supervised care. He's like, they're never going to let me drive again. You might as well have it. And I've got it. So I'm kind of saving it for Sarah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I moved all that catfish bait out to that car.
You put them in the car.
I put it in the car.
Right. Now, aren't you having a heat dome out there?
What
could go wrong? What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Right.
Yeah.
It was hot enough. Believe me. We have a guy that runs a little tackle shop in the town west of us called Wellsville, and I've been really pulling for this tackle shop, tackling bait. So I took about 10 cases of stuff over to him, just as I was like, hey, just use this as a promotion or whatever you can get just to get some foot traffic in here. Use it, buy $10, get some free catfish bait, whatever you want to do. Just do it. And then I got in touch with All American Catfish Tournaments, and their director now in Kansas is this guy named Dustin. His last name escapes me, but he was just getting ready to do a catfish clinic up at Perry Lake. So next thing you know, off to all the rest of it. Kathy had to take it to the guy's wife and meet her somewhere up in town. But I got rid of it. My marriage was saved.
Oh, good. That's good news.
I'm a hero to all the kids at the catfish tournament. My buddy down at Rusty's Bait is happy. He goes, yeah, you give that to them kids. You tell them kids to have a good time with that. That's as good advertising as anything. So he was nuts about, my decision. So went from zero to hero.
Look at you.
In no time.
Oh, well done. Well done. Did you send me any of that bait to try?
I was going to, but then I thought, I like Kristen, and I want her to like me.
I'll just keep it in the cold cut section of the fridge.
That's what I figured.
That's where it goes, next to the worms.
Right next to the worms, right. Exactly.
Perfect, John.
Speaking of fishing clinics, I did my first field report, and I'd like to play it for the listeners now, if that's all right.
Let's go.
Hey, everybody, Crappie Hippie here, and I am out at Vamos a Pescar Day 2 at Cedar Lake in Olathe, Kansas. I was also here for the first day back in May, and we had a real nice time, and some of those people have come back for Day 2 to learn some more stuff, some new stuff, maybe some more advanced stuff, but we also have plenty of new anglers, plenty of first-time beginning anglers and so forth that are here just to get some more of the basics, and we are excited to get going. First on the list of guests we have in this field report is the wife of the director of Vamos a Pescar, the lovely Susan Schmidt. Alrighty, now I am here with one of the directors of our fishing clinic here today, with Susan Schmidt, and she has been doing it. Susan, how long have you been doing this?
Well, Mike and I have been married for 7 years and together 10 years total, and so I would say 10 years because I've jumped into it as soon as we met.
Wow, all right, so it was obviously a match made in fishing heaven, I guess.
Sure.
And you're an outdoor enthusiast, correct?
Absolutely.
Camping, fishing?
Yes, we go camping lots of times. We upgraded recently to a camper, so we have air conditioning when we camp, so it's not really hard time camping, but yeah.
Okay, so what's going to go on out here today? You've got me on equipment ID. We have several other tables. What exactly are we going to show these folks today?
So we're educating the kids and family members. Some of these guys have never fished before in their life, which is crazy to me because I grew up fishing. But, we're teaching them all about it. So we've got equipment ID, finding out what all the different equipment for fishing is. We've got fishing rules and regulations where they'll go over, everything they need to know when they do go fishing and making sure they have a fishing license if they're over 16. The nice thing is about when Mike has these, he gets a permit that anybody can fish on this day. So, we can all come out here and fish for free, even if we don't have a fishing license, because we're covered under that. And he's also going to go over leave no trace aspects at that one too, which is like making sure when you go somewhere that you leave it better or the same as when you came. You don't make new trails. And then we have backyard bass where they can practice their casting and everything else. Knot tying and line rigging, learning how to rig up their poles. Everything about fishing tackle, and then PFD and safety. So, and then we're going to have a picnic afterwards. We've got it all set up to grill some hamburgers and hot dogs and vegan burgers and turkey burgers and all kinds of good stuff.
Well, it sounds fantastic, and I just want to thank y'all for including me in this.
You bet.
And I got a free shirt out of the deal. Woo! So, yeah, right on. All right, well, good luck with that.
We appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. It's a pleasure to meet you, a pleasure to talk to you. Okay, everybody's had their lesson. They're all rigged up. They've grabbed their stuff, and they've headed down to the water, and I'm heading down there, too, right now. All right, I'm down here fishing with some folks right now. Sir, what's your name?
My name is Fareed.
And I saw you at the last clinic. Learn anything new today?
Yeah, we learned a little bit about the different type of rods and stuff like that.
All right. And you picked up some goodies today, some freebies?
Yes, we did. We got a whole, my kids each got a fishing rod and a really awesome kit.
Fishing's a little tougher today than it was last time, isn't it?
It was. Yes, it was. But we caught one fish today, and we're striking out on everything else, but it's a lot of fun.
That's the right attitude. Okay, Fareed, what is the biggest challenge in taking kids fishing?
Keeping them, teaching them the basics and learning how to do the rods, because they just want to fish. And it's just teaching them the little details and stuff like that is my biggest challenge personally.
All right. What mishap is your hardest challenge? Is it the tangled line? Is it the hook snagging up? Is it all of the above?
I think actually for me, it's personally getting the hook out of the fish itself.
Oh. All right. Well, you might, next time I see you, maybe we'll talk about barbless hooks and how you can take those pliers you guys got today in your tackle kit and you can crush that barb down, and that makes it a lot easier to unhook them. Okay, next I turn to Fareed's son, who is a fine beginning angler with a lot of potential, and we had him field a couple of questions from me and his dad. Okay, what's your name, sir?
Rami.
Rami, are you having a good time?
Yes.
All righty. And what kind of fish did you catch a minute ago?
A catfish bullhead.
Oh, yeah, we love them bullheads. Very good, very good. All right, what are you fishing with?
A worm.
A worm? Worm's a good bait. Okay. And what was your favorite thing that you learned? You've come to 2 of the classes. What was the favorite thing you learned, Rami?
About the hook things.
About the different types of hooks and how to put the bait on?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. All right. Well, you enjoy yourself, and thanks again for coming out today.
Rami, what is your hardest part of the fishing?
Probably catching fish, maybe.
So you're saying the waiting, and then learning things to up your odds, maybe, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you like to catch fish. You'd like to do more of it. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? I've been fishing 59 years, and I feel the exact same way still. But you got your whole young life ahead of you, and I think you're going to do great and catch many, many fish years and years to come.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
You think so? All right. Why'd you pick out this blue rod? You like blue?
Yeah, it's my favorite color.
Uh-huh. And what kind of fish is that on your T-shirt?
A catfish?
You like catching those catfish?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, sir. You continue. See if you can get yourself another one. Okay, next I wandered over to another family that was comprised of some young kids and some of my favorite anglers to see out on the water, some tweens and teens getting out, learning to fish, and enjoying themselves. So we're going to talk to a few young ladies right now. All righty, I'm here with
Aria Jackson.
Hi, Aria. Now, last class, you killed it with the big 6-pound channel cat. How did it go today?
It was good today. I caught another fish today. It was a small little baby catfish, but it was good.
That was good. Well, I like your attitude. Just good to get out and do a little fishing, huh?
Yep.
All right. Are you going to come next year?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
All right. We're going to look forward to that. And you're going to put it on them next year?
Yep.
All right. And what's your favorite bait to use?
Oh, I don't know. I have a lot. I'm trying to think. Worms.
Worms is good. What was your favorite thing you learned at the clinics this year?
Definitely how to tie a knot because I did not know how to do that.
Well, you practice up. You are going to be a master. I just know it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you from the Fishers. How about you, young man? What's your name?
Garrett Bryant.
Garrett, you having a good time?
Mm-hmm.
catch any fish?
No, I have not.
Well, a lot of people have it a little tougher today, but are you going to keep at it?
Yes, I am.
That's a way. And what was your favorite thing to learn at the clinic this year?
Probably how to tie as well.
Very good. Hey, you can't fish unless you can tie on, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Awesome. Garrett, thank you very much. Haley, how's it going?
Bad. I haven't caught any fish.
Oh, no. Well, I didn't catch any fish either. What was your favorite thing to learn at the clinic this year?
Probably like how to put the bait on the hook.
Awesome. Well, that is important, and I am glad that you learned that. Did you have a good time?
Yes.
Which just goes to show we don't have to catch fish to have a good time, right?
Yep. Amen.
All righty. Are you going to come next year?
Yes.
Well, we'll look forward to that. All right. And how about you, young lady? What's your name?
Addison?
Addison, did you catch any fish today?
Yes.
What did you catch?
I caught a little tiny baby catfish.
Oh, one of those little bullheads. That's fantastic. You know, I love those sunglasses, heart sunglasses. What was your favorite thing that you learned at clinic this year?
Maybe how to see how to get if you get a new fishing rod, how to get it ready.
Awesome. It was nice to get a new fishing rod and you learned how to get it ready. That's fantastic. Am I going to see you out here next year?
Yes.
Awesome, Possum. Well, you guys go get a hot dog, go get a hamburger, go get some snacks, get cooled off, get some water, have a safe trip home, and we will see you at the fishing hole next time. Okay, there's nothing better to me than when an absolute beginner cleans up on the fishing, and we had an adorable 6-year-old girl that did just that, and let's talk to her right now. Okay, young lady, what is your name?
Minav?
Minav, you have really had a good day out here. Have you caught any fish?
Yeah.
How many have you caught?
2.
And they're pretty good size. Do you remember what kind they are?
I forgot their name.
I think it's 2 carps. You got 2 carp. Was it a lot of fun to catch those?
Yeah.
What did you catch them on?
A fishing rod.
You caught them on a fishing rod. That's right. And what sort of bait was on that fishing rod? Did you use worms or corn?
Corn.
Awesome. And are you going to keep on fishing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, obvious question, but that's what reporters do. We ask the obvious because it's easy for people to answer. Okay, are you going to go back and try to get another one?
Yeah.
And what was your favorite thing that you learned at clinic this year?
How to fish.
Awesome, Possum. Well, you certainly picked it up very fast. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Dad, state your name.
Moin.
Moin, what made you decide to come out to clinic this year?
I just wanted the kids to have some fun out fishing, and my daughter really wanted to do fishing, and she was lucky today. My son had fished in the last camp last year, so it was kind of fun. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought her out here. I think she taught some stuff as well as learned.
Absolutely. Yep. She's happy. Yeah, she will bug me again to go fishing.
Well, good for her. I'll tell you, you guys come out here a little earlier when those big ones, because man, when we were out here, the big ones were just cruising up and down the shore. You know, once the sun gets a little high, they kind of retreat. But yeah. All right, you guys, promise me you're going to keep on fishing, right?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for the rods. Thank you for the equipment, as well as thank you for the classes. And I really appreciate the time you've taken to teach the kids. I mean, it's really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for all that praise. And be sure to tell Mike, because I'm a volunteer, but Mike is the one, Mike and Susan are the ones that put this all together. All right, guys, I'll let you get right back to it.
Thank you.
One of the funnest things about doing the second day of clinic this year is that our own Jeff Donaldson was out there helping me. He is also a certified basic fishing instructor, and they put him on fishing tackle. And he went down with all the fishers and was helping out with throwing out the lines and untangling things when they got tangled, and helping people bait up the hooks and make decisions on whether they wanted to use corn or worms. But the coolest thing is that he got this idea because he saw that a few of the kids weren't catching. Minav's brother, for example, was really bummed out because he'd done rather well the first clinic, and he was really wanting to catch a catfish. So Jeff got in his tackle box, found some old catfish pellet bait, found some old dough bait and some stuff that he didn't want anymore, and he kind of baited the hole. He threw all that stuff out in the water, and next thing you know, about 20 minutes later, the catfish turned on. And Manav's big brother, he caught himself a pair of nice 1.5-pound channel cats, fat as a tick, each one of them. And then all of a sudden, things turned around for Haley. All right, Fish Nerds update. Big news hit me just as I was getting ready to leave. What's going on down here, Haley?
I caught a really big catfish.
All right, so you went from getting skunked to being biggest fish of the day. How does it feel?
It feels good and I feel accomplished.
All right, that is fantastic. Well, looking forward to seeing you out here. Are you going to come fishing again?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of bait are you going to use?
Live worms.
Live worms got the trick done. Well, Haley, I'm glad you had a nice day today, and thank you for being on the Fish Nerds.
Thank you.
All right, now, I'm telling you, backing you up completely on the catfish thing. These kids had worms and corn, and they were beginning anglers. The furthest cast probably was 20, 30 feet from shore, but half of them were fishing 10 feet from shore. And catfish and carp and bullheads in this ultra hot, I think the heat index that day was 104. And they're still catching cat and carp and stuff right there.
Well, it doesn't get old.
Of the lake.
Yeah.
You know. But it was really cute the way Jeff, he tuned up the action a little bit, throwing that bait in, that prepared bait in like that, like he did. But yeah, it backs you up. It bears it out. Don't not go fishing. I mean, the people fiddle with every kind of fishing, don't they?
They do. They love it, though.
Well, we love it. We love it. We're all nerds. We're all geeky. And so catfishers are no different. They're thinking, well, maybe if I did this, maybe if I did that. But basically, don't worry about, your level of alleged sophistication. Just get out there and have some fun fishing. And if you need to learn, find a fishing clinic near you, because guys and ladies that do fishing clinics are nuts about teaching, and are there to help you become an angler. And do not be shy about taking advantage of any free fishing clinic.
Well, and further than that, John, like, you're not taking advantage. If you don't go to it, it hurts their feelings. So
absolutely,
it's mean not to go to a fishing clinic if there's one nearby.
It really is.
Yeah, you're a bad person if you don't go. That's what I think about it. All right, we got to move on to the news, John.
Let's do it.
All right.
News, fish in the news. Everybody loves their fish in the news.
High seafood diets may come with a hefty side of forever chemicals. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was a real...
I know, it's a real uplifting thing. We've been talking for years about eating more seafood, and then we're eating it, and it turns out we're eating PFAS, the P. flora, I can't even say it, but of all species tested, fresh from the market, coastal New Hampshire, shrimp and lobster had the most alarming levels of the PFAS compounds. And this was a study done by Exposure and Health. It's PFAS means per and polyfluoroalkyl substances and related into
polyfluoroalkyl.
Polyfluoroalkyl.
Can I try?
Yeah, give it a go. Do it with a French accent.
Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Do it.
Yes. Okay.
Try it.
Polyfluoroalkyl.
Yeah.
Alkyl.
Perfect. Anyway, they come into the environment from all kinds of sources like industrial discharge, firefighting foam, household products, and it's linked to cancers. You get these compounds can wreck us, and it's in all of our water sources. And of course, if it's in the water, it's in the fish too. And New Hampshire, welcome to New Hampshire. We have so much here in our shellfish. That's kind of sad.
It's sad. It's scary.
Yeah.
And I am glad. But my big takeaway was that, we're testing the heck out of freshwater fish, which is just a very small fraction of the fish consumed. So it's high time somebody took a look at what we're actually eating out there. And also, I pointed out that even though these are really good New Hampshire fresh fish shops, sure, they're stocking a lot of stuff that's caught right around there, but they're bringing in stuff from Japan and,
Oh, here in New Hampshire?
Yeah, they said they're bringing them from,
Yeah.
Even though they're local shops, they get fish from all over the United States and different countries. So it's, we got to do this, and we got to do it on a worldwide level, because saltwater is the most water.
It's all we got too. And well, scientists looked at 26 different types of PFAS, and there are thousands kind. And they found the most consumed marine species in this area would be cod, haddock, lobster, salmon, scallop, shrimp, and tuna. And they bought these things from our local Market Basket, which is a big store around here. And of course, they found lots of them in the foods there. So the link's on the show notes. We don't know what to do about this, John. Like it's
No.
hard. It's a solution that the problem's already there, and the solution might be too late. I don't know how to fix it.
Well, first of all, recognizing the problem, studying the problem. Ultimately, I don't know how fixable this problem is either, but the geniuses, the evil corporate geniuses that come up with this stuff and knew it was dangerous and sold it anyway because the lure of money, greed, 10 deadly sins. I don't know what your belief system is, but you got to know that money makes people crazy, certain brand of person crazy,
Mhm.
and they don't care what they have to do to get it. And, they knew this stuff was going to contaminate the earth in a big
Sure.
bad way. And it's done it. And now we're stuck with it. But
Well, but
we're getting it. Well, we got information, baby, and we're getting it out
Sure.
there. And these kids, I mean,
they'll
they're
have-
hacked off. But unlike me,
Right.
I'm not going to drag you in this. I'm going to sit and whine and bitch about excuse my language, about, corporations and this and that and what a bunch of MFs they are and all that, which is not as helpful
No.
as an article like this, and not as helpful as people that actually start working on this stuff. So,
Sure. Well, there'll be some solutions. I'm not a scientist. What do I know? Now, John, I did find something interesting in this article. Well, two things. But one thing interesting in this article was the fact that these PFAS are going to impact lower income people at a higher rate than people who have money. Because
Yeah, I saw that.
It's shocking that people who earn less than $45,000 a year eat more seafood than people who earn more than that. See,
Well,
for
it's
me,
kinda-
seafood's always been a money game. Like, I don't eat a lot
Right.
of seafood because, it's expensive. But I guess they're eating. What do I know?
Well,
I mean, it didn't match my household, but some people it works for, I guess. And
Well, it goes back to what you said when we talked about the fishing report from last year, and you said it didn't surprise you that saltwater fishing was more diverse because people use it as a food
Right.
source.
Right.
And I think this bears that
It does.
out.
Now-
I think that's what you're looking at.
now, in other news within this topic, they did mention Market Basket, and Market Basket is it used to be called Demoulas, and it's out of Massachusetts, and it's won awards for treating their employees really, really well. It's a great chain as far as that goes. When you walk in it, you feel like this. It's all waste. It's all plastic. Everything. It doesn't feel like a quality store, but people love it. I shop there because it's 20% cheaper than the other supermarkets in my town, so I go there. But their seafood is terrible at the one I go to. They had on display. On display, they've got these gross-looking farmed rainbow trout out there at $6.99 a pound, and then they called it perch, and just these fillets of perch, and they were $3.99 a pound. And I said to the lady behind the counter, I said, "Can you tell me what kind of fish that is?" And she goes, "Well, the sign says perch." And I said, "I know, but perch is not a species of fish. I want to know what kind of fish it is." And she goes, "Well, it's a perch." I said, "Well, they look like, to me, it looks like."
I can read already.
I said,
I know it's a perch.
I said, here's the thing. I can tell by looking that's Acadia redfish. And I'm hoping
okay.
you can confirm it's Acadia redfish.
Okay.
And she goes, "Sir, it says perch. Do you want to buy them?" So I bought a couple of fillets, and they were slimy and not fresh, and they were gross. They were Acadia redfish, which is sustainable.
Okay.
But they're selling them as perch, and the people who work in there, no idea what they're selling. So I don't like it. So I won't buy seafood from them anymore.
But they will help you sound out the word perch.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's good.
perch, sir. It says perch on the sign. I said, "But it's not perch." She goes, "I don't know what you mean." I said, "Well, I mean, there's no such thing as a perch. That's a family of fishes. That's like just calling it trout. We have rainbow trout. It says rainbow trout. We know what kind of trout we're buying."
I know.
She goes, "Sir, it says perch on the sign."
Yes.
Anyway.
Simpleton.
Moving on. I'm not smart enough to shop at Market Basket. Or, as it's pronounced in Massachusetts, Market Basket. So, moving on, John. Moving on.
Moving on. I love this next story.
Go. Oh, boy.
All right.
This is easy addition to your diet can help you live longer. A new study, John. Did you read this article?
Of course, I read the article.
Well,
I'm a
I didn't.
professional. Well, then I'll take over.
All
my
right,
brother.
do it.
All right. There's a new study out from Japan that women who eat small fish whole from head to the bone, or from head to toe, from head to tail, bones and all, may face a lower risk of dying from cancer and other causes. Previous studies have revealed the protective fish intake, but as part of your dietary process and then the healthy outcomes and stuff. But few studies focus on the fish we eat whole, like sardines. And in the Asia and Europe and so forth, this is not nearly as out there as it is here in the United States of America. But anyway, 80,802 people between 35 and 69 were divided into 4 groups based on how often they consume small fish. Rarely, 1 to 3 times a month, 1 to 2 times a week, more than 3 times a week. And they're talking about, whitebait, Atlantic capelline, Japanese smelt, and sardines. So there is an indication that this works especially well on women. They said the effect on men wasn't nearly as profound. You can do with that what you will. But more work needs to be done on this. But it is very interesting to note that there is something about eating the bones with the fish. And I have heard this. I have heard this on an anecdotal level. And you talk to people from around the Mediterranean and so forth, where this is a common practice, and they will say, oh yeah, absolutely. Like, of course, what, it's what you do. It's what you should do. It's good for you. It sounds like a grandma thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eat your fish bones.
Yes.
They're good for you.
Well, they are good for you. When we eat minnows, we eat the bones.
Right.
Yeah. You can take like a golden shiner, cut it with a pair of scissors, and just bread and fry it. It's delicious. Bones and all.
The shiner was delicious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that gizzard shad is like the worst thing you could ever even try to process. I do not have much experience with this sort of eating outside of canned sardines.
Yeah. Do you like canned sardines?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I don't eat it. My wife buys them for me every year for Christmas. I never open the cans to eat them unless I'm doing a fish challenge of some sort. So, which, by the way, we're overdue for.
We are overdue for that. We keep, but if everybody's, I'm not going to do an aside on why that hasn't happened.
Right.
But it has to do with adulting, okay?
Yeah, we're busy. Real life happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time we put it together, somebody can't make it or something.
Yeah. Well, we'll make it happen one of these. So the takeaway in the story is women should eat whole fishes.
Women should, for sure, should eat whole fishes. And
But not from New Hampshire, where they're full of PFAS.
Well, there's all kinds of whole fish cookery that you can come across. Leo Chang from Extreme Philly Fishing shows Asian way to, you cook these bluegill till basically, he'll just sit there. You crisp those bones up.
Mm-hmm. Well, then they clench up on you.
Crumbly, and they aren't sharp. The only one that you got to take out is the dorsal fin, because that will not cook down and that'll stay sharp. But I mean, he eats these things literally head to tail. In the novel Cold Mountain, this is set back in the around the Civil War. The main character talks of catching little brook trout up in the Appalachian Mountains. He's camping out with a group of Cherokee, and they just fry them up whole and eat them head to tail. So,
yeah. Well, if you are eating for sustenance and you have to eat because you are surviving, not eating the bones. If you can find a way to eat the bones, you're getting more nutrients. Yeah, so it makes sense to me.
Absolutely. But as far as breaking people in on this, especially in this culture, canning or the hard frying seems the way to go. I saw a guy from Bangladesh on YouTube fry up carp real nice and crisp, and then he turns around and puts it in this braising liquid with all these vegetables and puts the curry and the different spices in there. And the Luke Nichols from Catfish and Carp, good old American boy, he sits there, eats 4 portions of it, just can't stop going on about it. And he goes, there's no bones. I don't know. I don't taste anything.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're in here, but it's all going down great. So there are ways to do this, and you need to check into it. And maybe I'll have sardines for lunch.
Maybe I will too. All right, cool. All right, John, we got a couple more stories. We got to pick up the pace a little bit, though.
We got to pick up the pace.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this one's set in by our own hardcore, longtime fish nerd, Scott. And Scott, I hope I say your last name right. Scott Nahodil.
He doesn't know how to say his name either. It doesn't make any difference. Some names are not meant to be read out loud.
Well, that's true. And, but anyway, Scott, thank you for sending the story in on the Arapaima. And this is a fantastic story because it is our good news story of the day.
Woo!
Giant freshwater fish are among the most endangered animals on Earth, but in the lush waterways of the Amazon, one leviathan is swimming against the current. Love that.
Every chance it can get.
The Arapaima, a fish capable of growing up to 10 feet long and weighing in at 500 pounds, is on the recovery road. It was a popular seafood species that was ravaged by overfishing. because they're pretty easy to fish for. They're easy to track. They're easy to spot because they're a obligate air breather. So they have to come up every 10, 20 minutes and take a gulp of air. And these guys that fish for them, can use that information to put out their nets to, spear them or whatever the heck they think they need to do to get them. But the great thing about this story is that first the Brazilian government, tried to protect them by creating zones of preservation and so on. But what actually turned the tide is when they sent out biologists to educate these village people on what they could do, because they're the ones doing the fishing.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones selling off the excess. And they're the ones who just needed to learn that all you got to do is quit picking on them when they're spawning and only take the big ones. The healthiest, most reproductively energetic arapaima tend to be around, under 10 feet. And so these guys and it's easier on the fisher because instead of, getting 10, 50 pound, he just catches a 500 pounder and he's done.
He's done. That's a lot of fish, John. I'm not okay with this at all.
Well, I am looking at arapaima numbers increasing 425% in 11 years, and it's become exponential. The expectation is the percentage will rise to 600%, although all the results aren't in and haven't been published yet. But this, oh gosh, okay. Hoyo Camposilva, and I don't know how to pronounce it, J-O squiggly mark A-O, Hoya. I think it's Hoya Campos Silva, a Brazilian ecologist and member of the National Geographic team. He is part of this exploration and part of this study, and 1,100 communities in the basin where these fish are particularly common have been given this education and are spearheading the whole recovery thing. So win.
Big wins.
The villagers are happy. The jungle is happier. The arapaima is especially happy. And we've got a species that was once endangered going the other way. So good for us.
Well, that's good. My brain can't get into catching giant fish in freshwater and killing them. So
yeah, well,
I can accept the data. I still don't like it. How's that?
Well, I'm not going to tell you to like it.
You don't have to like it.
You don't have to like it, but it's kind of like we just talked about sturgeon, and you're allowed to catch the big grannies that are kind of past their prime. But and then there's a slot for a small, very narrow slot for some keepers if you want, and you're only allowed to keep one. Anyway, the point is it can be managed, and we can never. You're the one always talking about how fish. There is no solid rule about any of them anywhere in terms of identifying what a fish is. Well, as far as managing them, sometimes strategies would seem counterintuitive to those of us who say, "Oh, release that big bass, release that big trout." But in this
that's my point. Is it doesn't match my brain, but I'm okay. So,
but you're okay. You're gonna be okay.
We got to move on, John. We got to move.
Promise me.
Yeah.
All right. The last one.
Last one. Speed round. Come on.
Let's go. All I got to say about this last one, it's a cute fix sent in by Tim Tacklebox Beat. It's a cute fix on an important topic. I would encourage everyone to watch this little animated film. It's about women churning out of fishing, and they do so at a higher rate. And it kind of got to me. I got that, that allergy I get when I watch.
I do.
I get that thing in my eyes and stuff. But anyway, it's super good. And the underlying message is that as your child grows, make sure the communication grows and becomes more sophisticated, and you're having real conversations, conspicuously open channels of communication, and that you each understand where the other is coming from in terms of fishing. Well, you might be a hardcore, they might be less so, or vice versa. And but participate in each other's lives through fishing where it is wanted, and do it in a way that both of you are happy. But be sure and not lose track of that child angler as they go to explore different facets of life as they become an adolescent and so forth. There's still a fishing bug in there somewhere, little coal. You just got to blow on that coal and that fire will fire right up.
I find a lot of people that fishing comes back around, but you do have to reintroduce it sometimes. So, well, good, John. And we put that link up on our show notes as well.
We absolutely have the link on our show.
Perfect. Let's get out of the news.
News, fish in the news. Everybody
Okay, Clay, are you ready to play Spot the Trend?
Yeah, I'm gonna win.
You're gonna win.
I'm gonna win. I'm a trend setter, so
Everybody knows that.
I remind people. So I work on the radio. I work on a top 40 radio station. So I am in charge of what songs get played on the radio. So I often remind listeners, especially the younger ones, that I'm in charge of what's cool. And if my teenage kids start questioning me on things, it's like, listen, my job is to announce what's cool. If there's a song you like, it's playing on the radio, I put that on there. I'm cool. So I know the trends. I'm ready, John. I got it. I also am very good at talking about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck and their relationship. So if you ever want to do a side podcast on J-Lo and Ben Affleck, I can do that too.
Okay, well, that's good to have in mind because you always got to have a backup. But right now, we're going to talk
That'll be my side podcast, the new Fish Nerds podcast, all about J-Lo.
Oh, my goodness.
J-Lo goes fishing.
Yeah.
She doesn't, by the way. She won't. No chance. No.
That's
She is not one of the people we heard about earlier who went fishing as a kid and wants to get back to it. That's not her. No. So, in case you're wondering.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. Well, no J-Lo. That was an awful short episode. But this is an outdoor participation report put out by the same folks that put out the fishing report, or at least contributed to the fishing report, the outdoor recreation industry. And it's mainly a report put out for retailers and manufacturers of outdoor goods, hard goods like clothes and equipment and so forth. So I'm going to tell you right now that the study is a bit skewed toward activities that require an investment in equipment.
Sure.
Because it's for the people that produce the equipment. So it's not what our beloved Doc Martin would call hard data. This is more like marketing, statistical data, but it's still a lot of fun. And, but it is focused on this top 5 that we'll get into for casual participants. Clay, to start out, record-setting growth. Do half the people in the country participate in outdoor rec, less than half, or more than half?
I think more than half.
More than half is correct.
Especially since the pandemic, it's blown up.
It has blown up, and 57.3 people in this great land of ours, 6 and older, are out there doing something outdoorsy at least 4 times a year. 175.8 million people in 2023 with 7.7 new participants.
All right, so I'm winning. Let's end the game now.
Let's end the game now.
If I'm winning.
Right.
No,
Go
ahead.
All right. Now, diversity. Do you think diversity in outdoor activities overall is greater than in fishing, or less so, or about the same?
I don't understand the question, John.
Well, let's look at. I'm looking at some statistics on outdoor activity overall. But the last time we did one of these, it was fishing specific, and we had statistics on the diversity levels in fishing.
So are you talking about fishing now, or
fishing
overall?
now? Like, for example, how many participants are white? How many participants are black? What percentages?
It's funny because it's really hard not to live in a biased brain space because you're thinking about your own life and where you live. I live here in New Hampshire, and not by choice. It's a very white community. Like, it's just how it is. But then I go travel, and I find to be more diverse on the fishing piers and stuff and down south. And it's a big country. So I think fishing is diverse. What was the multiple choice on that?
Well, your diversity is it do those percentages line up, with how they line up?
Do you think
fishing?
it lines up with with actual populace? Is that what you're asking?
Well, no, I'm saying in the spectrum of camping, hiking, cycling, trail running, all these outdoor activities.
Are you asking which one's the most diverse?
Is fishing? Yeah, basically. Do you think fishing is more diverse? Or
Yes,
do you think
absolutely.
The overall base?
No, I think fishing's more diverse. I think you get into cycling and you get into some of the more expensive sports. You definitely skew towards one culture. But I think fishing is very diverse.
Actually, it's about the same.
Really?
It's about the same.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about 70% in fishing participants are white, 69.7 overall.
I would expect that number to be
participants
higher, to be more diverse for fishing, just because so many cultures. Because it seems like one of those cross-culture activities. So it must be all those fly fishers skewing their data.
Well,
because if you ask me if fly
know.
fishing was diverse, I went, no, that's a white. It's very white.
Well,
not by design, just by happenstance. So
right, we're not going to go off on any social tangents, but I was surprised.
I could.
I was surprised to see how close fishing mirrors and I would be curious to, dig down and do another study or whatever where we focus. If 13.4% of Hispanic people like outdoor activities or participate in outdoor activities, as defined by this study, then what are they? What are the ones? How do they differ from what white folks are doing, and so on? So that part of it is interesting to me, but yeah, it's reflective, at least in terms of fishing. It's about the same. So
cool. All right, moving on.
Let's
What's
move
next?
them on. For the first time ever, more than half of American women are participating in outdoor recreation. 51.9% of women do something at least 4 times a year in the outdoors. What's the percentage for men? Is it 52%? Is it 63%? Is it 75%?
I think it's 63%.
63% is correct.
Yes. Yep.
Let's play the music. But yeah, it's fabulous. 62.9% according to this study, which is also a record high. So people are getting out and getting busy.
Good for them.
What group of people drives this increase, this record-setting amount of participation? Is it youth? Is it adult? Or is it seniors?
It's got to be seniors.
Seniors are driving, and more seniors are getting out. The old idea of, hey, I'm just going to stay in the air conditioning is falling away. And yes, the participation among seniors went up by almost 12%, which is way more than any other group in that demographic that I just talked about. So very, very interesting. Clay is killing it. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have to cheat or something.
Do something.
Got to do something. But here comes the bad news. And this is more of a discussion rather than a question. Participation in number of outings per year declined from 70 outings per year in 2022 to 62 outings in 2023. So we talk about that. Why do you think that is going on?
Well, because we just said seniors are driving the growth and they're dying.
Well,
I win, John. I'm an expert on everything.
Hey, funny guy.
Thank you for tuning in to the Fish Nerds podcast.
Well, there's actually something to that, because if you're a little
just
top heavy
math
on age, they may not, have the wherewithal to get out.
Less mobility as they get older.
Yeah. And what we need to talk about, and what the study doesn't go into as deeply as I would like, is what they talk about core people, which are people that do outdoor activities 51 times or more per year, to casual, which is a 4 to 24 times per year. So you got to have at least 4 little trips out to be even count. But the casuals, 24 times a year, and then for some, there's this middle ground, I guess, where you're neither one or both. But the thing that got me is that what they're finding is that the more casual people you get participating outdoors, the fewer core people want to participate, and they go less. Now, why do you think that is?
Wait, repeat that question again. The
hardcores, their numbers are going down as the casual users rise quickly. And so why do you think that is? They're going down both in terms of the number of core users, participants, and the amount of times that they go. So why do you think that the rise in casual participation is driving down core participation? Or is it just correlation?
It could be correlation, but it also could be economy. People are working more, trying to earn more money. Their rents are going up. It could be an economy issue. And so it's easier to go sometimes than to go all the time. And that would drive those sometimes numbers up higher.
Well, I thought about this, and I'm just trying to get my head around it. And that's a good answer, because, I'm not, part of me is thinking that, I used to have this trail all to myself. Now I don't want to go because there's all these newbies out here. Part of me says it's got to be, I used to fish this stream with, a couple other guys, and now look at all these darn people. But I'm not sure that that's accurate or in any way borne out by the facts. That's just might be my own paranoia.
Well, we all have our own paranoias, John. But
we do.
But it's fun to talk about. So
well, it is, and let's go ahead and move on into comparing the fish nerds to the people in the study. The study top 5 activities is hiking is number 1, fishing is number 2, running, jogging, walking, trail running is number 3, camping number 4, and cycling, and that includes mountain biking, BMX, trick riding, and road biking. Number 5. Interesting. Now, the Fish Nerds, I put it out on the Fish Nerds Facebook group on the Friday fishing poll. And of course, I know fishing is number 1. It was pointless to ask which you like the best, but I said, which activities cross over into your fishing the most? And their choices were hiking, wildlife watching, camping, boating, floating, rafting.
I answered this survey. Yeah.
You did. We had 80 respondents. It was really good. Bird watching, outdoor photography, restoration and litter removal, hunting, and some all the way down to trapping and cycling. And my 2 favorite answers were Tim beat, strategically placing lures for others to recover, and Jim Vibert, our own Jim Vibert from out here around Ottawa, Kansas, mowing. We got to get the mowing done before we can go fishing, right?
Perfect, yeah.
Love both those answers. But, okay, so you participated. Which of those activities are the top ones that cross over into fishing?
It's got to be wildlife viewing.
Yes.
I didn't look at the results, though. So the top 2
Right.
and bird watching.
Actually,
Which is the
bird
same
watching
thing.
is down. It's camping, hiking, and wildlife watching all finished at 14%.
Look at that.
Yeah, wild. And then boating, and then floating, rafting, kayaking, and bird watching and outdoor photography all tied at 9%. Restoration and litter removal 5%, hunting 4%, placing lures, being a lure fairy, and placing lures for others to recover 4%, trapping 3%, cycling only 2%, and then apparently a lot of guys are getting out of having to mow the lawn first, because that was only 2% as well.
Yeah, my wife mows the lawn. She won't let me do it. I don't do it right, so she gets to do it. So it's perfect. All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to us, John. That was a lot of fun.
All right.
And then we have a link to that participant trends report on the show notes in this week's show.
We got to go on. What are we doing next, Clay? We got a culinary corner. correct?
Culinary corner.
What are you gonna do with that fish that you caught? If you kill it, will you grill it? Will you blacken it in a skillet? We gotta make it delicious, so it's not for naught. Let's take a look at ways to cook it in the Fish Nerds Culinary Corner.
All right, let's talk about cooking mushy, stocked rainbow trout. We've all done it. You caught your rainbow trout. You kill it because you're trolling for it. It's too warm out. It's a stocked fish. It's not strong like a wild fish. So you got to eat it. Or you start looking at that meat and think, it's a little mushy. Not sure I want to eat that as a fillet. So here's what I do. And it's good. You take your fish home. You gut it if you want to. That's how I do it. And then all you got to do is open it up with a knife and then grab a spoon, and you can scrape all the meat off of the bones, off of the skin, and to come out like already shredded up, ready to go. So you put that in a bowl and wait. Now, in a separate dish or pan, I don't care how you do it, chop up some onions, some garlic, and some celery, and whatever else you got laying around. Throw that in a hot pan with butter, saute all those together, kind of get them cooked down a little bit. Take them off the heat, and then take your mushy meat, your mushy rainbow trout, and in that you're going to add any kind of seasoning you want. You got some fresh dill or some herbs, throw it in there. Salt, pepper, garlic, paprika, throw it in there, and it's going to add some nice flavors to it. And then that stuff you just sauteed up, throw that in there as well. Then with your bare hands, because if you don't do it with your bare hands, then you do another way, I guess. But do it with your bare hands. Get in there and just mush that all together. Just squeeze it through your fingers. Just makes all that squirting sounds and squish it all around there, and until it's all mixed nicely together. You're done. You've made trout burgers. It's as simple as that, and they're going to taste good too. So that's how you make the burgers. And then what you want to make is your aioli to go with it. We did a curry lemon aioli. Aioli is just a fancy word for mayonnaise. Rich people don't like saying mayonnaise because it's poor people food. But all you do is, I just took a bunch of curry and about a half a lemon, squeezed it into the bowl with the curry, and a few scoops of mayonnaise. I don't measure stuff. Mix it together till it tastes good, and that's it. Simple. Now get a hot skillet and cook some bacon. Bacon's a magic trick here. till it's nice and crispy and ready for a sandwich. Put that bacon aside. Leave the grease in the pan. When that gets nice and warm again, take those burgers, which I'm going to back up a little bit. After you get done making that burger meat, you should refrigerate it for a little bit, let it firm up. After you get that pan hot now, you've got your bacon cooked, you've made your aioli, you're ready to go. You're going to take that burger meat, shape it into whatever size burgers you want. They're not going to cook down very much because there's not a lot of fat in them. And make sure your oil is nice and hot, but not too hot. You don't want it smoking. And lay those in the oil. And you can make them whatever size you like. Size of your bun works good. And it's like 2 or 3 minutes each side till it's cooked through. Turn them over, 2 or 3 minutes each side. And then they should be nice and golden brown. They release from the pan when they're done, so that's how you can tell. If you want to add cheese, now's the time. Drop some cheese on there. And now toast up some buns. Plate them up. It's simple as that. You can use a nice brioche if you fancy, or if you'd like me, cheap hamburger bun is the way to go. Just put it on there. Put your aioli on the bottom. Throw your sandwich together. Add your bacon. You want less than tomato? Do it. Go. Boom. You got delicious trout burgers. And you can do that with any kind of fish you want. It's simple. Delicious. It's also, if you bread it and fry it, it's crab cake recipe. So it's all the same recipe. It's easy. That's it. That's Culinary Corner. Clay out.
Look, when you talked about this online the other day and told me about this, I was just over the moon about it. I think it sounds like a great way. It reminds me of the old salmon patty thing.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
But what really got me was that curry aioli, man. I got to try it. It sounds fantastic.
It's so good. It's so good. And what I think is neat, and I talked about this in the piece, is just using a spoon to get meat off a fish. It's so efficient. So
yes, it is.
That's what I recommend doing. Anyway, so give it a shot. It's great use for those soft fish that maybe aren't great for just filleting and putting on the table. So, all right. And any fish would work for that. So thanks for doing that. Give him a shot, John, and report back.
I will do that.
All
I
right.
will do that, but don't hold your breath.
All right. We need to talk about our Father's Day contest.
We are talking about the Father's Day contest still going on. We'll go on. Oh, let's do one more week of it. We'll announce the winners. What is the next show? It's
2 weeks away.
After the 4th of July. Yeah, a couple weeks from today. We'll announce the winner, so you still got time to get in.
All right, call the Fish Nerds hotline at 607-378-FISH. Tell us a story about fishing with your dad, or if you're a dad, fishing with your kid. And it doesn't have to be funny. There's no pressure to be interesting or funny. Just tell us a story, and you're entered to win. And we'd love you to participate in it. And we got a great prize package from the Crappie Hippie. What's the prize?
First place is a Glasswater Angling t-shirt and $25 worth of stuff from Glasswater Angling. So that's about a $50 prize. The next one's a $25 prize of Glasswater Angling lures, weights, whatever you want. Third place, $10 prize. And like I say, I'll send a sticker or a card or a this or that to everybody that enters the contest. So
perfect.
Get those entries in, and you can do so by calling
607-378-FISH.
607-378-FISH.
Yeah, you also go to fishnerds.com, push the little microphone button, record it right on there. And some of our entries today did just that. And so we've got 4 entries today. We have first one up is going to be Angie Scott.
Hello, Fish Nerds podcast listeners. This is Angie from the Woman Angler and Adventure podcast. With Father's Day just around the corner, I wanted to share a cherished memory fishing with my dad. Growing up in Minnesota, our family spent countless days on the water, all packed into our trusty little Aluminacraft fishing boat with a 40 horsepower Johnson outboard. One of my fondest memories is just how selflessly my dad dedicated his time during our fishing trips. He hardly ever got to cast a line himself because he was always so busy helping us, my brother and my mom. Whether it was baiting our hooks, untangling our lines, or taking fish off the hooks, Dad was always there ensuring that we had the best experience possible. It's those moments filled with laughter and love that truly stand out in my memory. My dad's patience and dedication not only made our fishing trips more successful, but he also taught us the valuable lessons about selflessness and the joy of giving. So, this Father's Day, here's to all the incredible dads out there who, like mine, go above and beyond to make lasting memories with their families. Happy Father's Day, Dad. Thanks for all those amazing fishing trips and for being the anchor of our family adventures. Thanks, Fish Nerds Podcast, for letting me share this memory. Keep fishing and creating those priceless moments. See you guys.
And I love
They're all
Angie.
good though. They're all good. They're
Yeah.
all fantastic. I'm a little beklept right here,
Yeah.
right now.
Well, we love Angie Scott. Thank you for sending that in. And if you want to check out Angie Scott, she also makes podcasts. What's it called, John?
The Woman Angler and Adventurer, and boy, she has the lead singer from that heavy metal band Plush, Mariah from Mika, and Mariah loves to fish, and she's darn good at it. She loves to play that guitar, loves to play with that fishing rod. So give that a listen.
Awesome. Next up is the knitting daddy, my friend Craig.
Hey, Clay and John and all the other fish nerds. This is Knitting Daddy Greg. Love the show, and I was calling to talk about fatherly fishing. I grew up fishing with both of my grandfathers and my dad, and from a very young age. I can't remember a time when I wasn't fishing, and I learned so much from them. Great time on the river, just, enjoying each other's company and getting great models of fatherhood. And now I'm really excited to be able to share that love of fishing with my daughter, Blueberry, who started fishing when she was really young, 4 or 5 maybe, and has loved it. I've been very blessed that she loves the sport as well. And my best story with her was on her birthday one year, 3 or 4 years ago. We were out fishing on the river in eastern North Carolina, and she was still having me bait her hooks and taking the fish off. And so we were out on the Scuppernong River, and from a pier, from a little boat dock sort of thing. And the fish were really biting, a bunch of sunfish, bluegill, and the like. And such that as soon as she put her hook in the water, boom, pulling in a bluegill. We ended up, between the two of us, we ended up catching about 100 fish that day, and that is not a fish tale. I was cleaning fish for hours, and we had the entire family over for a fish fry that night. It was wonderful, but she was catching them so fast that I was not able to get my hook in the water very much at all, because as soon as I started baiting my hook, she's pulling in a bluegill. So I'm taking off the hook, throwing in the bucket and everything, putting another worm on, and she puts it in. I started to put a worm on my hook. Boom, another bluegill coming out of the river. It was one of the best times I've ever had fishing, and she still talks about it. None of her friends at school believe it, but I don't care. It was a good time. So thank you for this promotion and this opportunity to tell some fish tales, and keep on doing your fish nerds thing. Absolutely love everything y'all are doing. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Greg. And Greg makes a podcast as well, all about knitting, and we'll share links in our show notes for that one, too. Brian McGilvra, our regular participant, is back. Brian's got a little story here.
Hey, fish nerds. This is Brian McGilvra from Des Moines, Iowa, and just calling to enter in for John's Father's Day contest. And although my dad really isn't a huge angler or outdoorsman, so to speak, there's something that he did do for me that really meant a lot, and that is that he held on to my tackle box and my little kid's fishing pole and we're talking the early 80s. Held on to those and then, gave them back to me as an adult. And so having those, and I still technically use them today. So having those brings back a lot of good memories. Fishing with him and fishing with his father. So fishing with my grandpa, going camping, spending time outdoors with family, going fishing with my uncle and my cousin. And so, it's kind of a story, but it's also, what he did, that really meant a lot, that he kept those all these years and that I still have them today. And it brings back a lot of great memories. And, so that's my contest, entry. And, I'm really thankful for my father and also my father-in-law. He and I go fishing quite often too. So anyways, there it is. Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Can always rely on Brian to bring a story for us.
He is very reliable listener and has been with us for a long, long time. We love Brian. And last but not least, we got Big Joe Henry from the Northland going to give us one last story.
How you doing, everybody? Hey, it's Joe Henry, Lake of the Woods Tourism. For this Father's Day, I have a pretty good fishing memory of my dad. My dad wasn't a huge angler, but I can remember we were up in a fly-in up in Ontario, and my dad wanted to take a nap. He'd fished all morning. He's kind of tired, so it was a 14-foot boat in this fly-in lake. So he was basically on the floor of the front of the boat sleeping when I hooked into a good pike. And I'm pulling this big pike, and he's trying to net it, and it's not going real well. And he was more concerned about taking a nap and having a good sandwich, I think, was about a 10-pound pike I caught. But nonetheless, it's a good memory. And I have a lot of good memories fishing with my dad. And it's one of those things where with Father's Day, it's fun to look back, and it's fun to see the times we spent together on the water, because a lot of times on the water were special. So with that, happy Father's Day, everybody.
Awesome. And thank you, everyone, for participating. Again, there's still 2 more weeks to get your entries in. 607-378-FISH, and tell us your Father's Day stories. John, we got to wrap this show up, buddy.
I'm telling you, these people have listened to us talk about fishing. I mean it. These people have listened to us talk about fishing stuff when they should have been out fishing.
They should have been. Big fat thank you to Wally Pleasant, Dianah's Bath Salts, and the mysterious Baitcaster Cylinder for our music. We also have the Mini Vandals for the shiny little light. Scott, whose name is unpronounceable. Tim Tacklebox Beat. Susan Schmidt, and all the kids and parents from the Vamos a Pescar Fishing Clinic, and our own Vamos a Pescar. That's my Spanish. Pretty good. Our own families, and especially you for tuning in and bringing your ears right in here and listen, fill them up with fish stuff. John, what's the code of the Fish Nerds?
Remember to follow the code of the Fish Nerds. Spawn early and often.
Never trust a free lunch with strings attached.
And swim against the current every chance you get.
Whew. We did it, John. You made a podcast.
Woo-hoo!
Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean, casting nets, Fish Nerds. Fish Nerds. Fish Nerds. It's a podcast.
Just for the halibut.
Fried in a basket or broiled in a pan. Eat it raw like you're in Siam. Fish Nerds. Fish Nerds. Fish Nerds. It's a podcast.